Special Anonymous. 2 years after my marriage, I received a package from someone who termed himself as Special Anonymous. It was a brand new iPhone and a diamond necklace. The worth of the items got me lost and sealed my lips. I made to tell my husband, but each time I opened my mouth to talk, I found myself smiling instead. My husband, Charles, was a great man, and our 2 years of marriage were bliss until I figured out the little problem in our relationship. Charles never deemed it fit to gift me something, even if he had the money to do so. Whenever I go online and see different videos of men taking their ladies out and sending them things like flowers, I always get sad. Charles was so uptight and plain. Most times when we conversed, it sounded so official that I usually wondered if I was talking to my boss. I wanted our marriage to be sweeter and less serious. I craved a playmate, someone who would smack my ass and run around while I chased him. Charles was basically all about taking care of the home, and it was annoying. He would say, "How much do you need for this month's expenses?" "I just transferred the money to your account." "The driver will take you to the mall." That was how plain and boring our marriage was. Most times I wished he would buy me a gift, look into my eyes and tell me how much he loved me. But he never even stared at me for long. And so, when I started getting romantic gestures from an anonymous stranger, it wasn't surprising that I felt butterflies in the pit of my stomach. Another time, I got a bouquet and a small note that said, "I hope you get reminded of how beautiful and sweet you are." My heart raced and my excitement was out of this world. It didn't take long before I started thinking of this anonymous stranger and how sweet life might be with him. I came back from work one afternoon and met my husband with a small box in his hands. He had a confused look on his face just as he stared at me. "Who sent this?" he had asked, and my heart dropped. Telling my husband lies was never part of my plan when I decided to get married to him. But then, receiving presents from the anonymous stranger made me the greatest liar in the world. My sister must have sent that. She promised me a present sometime last month. I had lied and swiftly collected the box from him. He didn't look so convinced, but when he saw a bracelet, he wore a smile. It was not out of place for sisters to gift themselves something of that nature, right? That night, I was on the bed, with Charles lying beside me. We just finished making love, but I still felt lost and empty. He took everything like a duty, not like love. In the middle of my solemnity, I picked up my phone and decided to go through my unread messages. Just then, my eyes caught sight of a message, and instantly, my heart raced. "Do you love the bracelet?" A small smile curved on my lips as I quickly typed, "Yes, thank you." "How did you get my number?" I asked. Unfortunately, he was not online. That night was the longest night I had in a while. I kept checking my phone for a message from him, but it never came. The next morning, Charles left for work after giving me a fast, duty-like kiss. Just a brief peck on my cheeks, and that was all. I sighed deeply and picked up my phone, patiently waiting for the anonymous stranger to reply to my message. About 5 minutes later, my phone beeped. "Let's say I got your number from a colleague of yours. I won't tell you who, and I won't tell my name too." I read the message and chuckled calmly. I had quite a number of colleagues at the office, and I was certain that one of them was stupid enough to give a stranger my contact, even if they knew I was married. "I will send you something today. I want you to know that it is from a heart that cherishes you," he said, and went offline. Later that afternoon, I got a package at my workplace. It was a bag from Gucci. I almost screamed out of my lungs because I knew the worth. "I got the package. I love it," I said in the text, and after a while, he dropped a heart emoji. I returned home later and met my husband in the living room. His eyes went to the package in my hands. "Your sister again?" he asked, and I gulped down hard. I got this one myself. I ordered it and it got delivered today," I said with a bright smile. "But you only shop for things at month ends," he said. I gulped again and wore a bigger smile. "I couldn't wait to get this one," I replied, and he nodded. My conversations with Mr. Special Anonymous started becoming more frequent, and slowly, I found myself drifting away from Charles. I will be in the living room, with my phone in my hands, waiting for a text from him. And no, he never called me, and I was just fine with the texts. Most times with Mr. Special Anonymous started becoming more frequent, and slowly, I found myself drifting away from Charles. I will be in the living room, with my phone in my hands, waiting for a text from him. And no, he never called me, and I was just fine with the texts. Most times with Mr. Special Anonymous started becoming more frequent, and slowly, I found myself drifting away waiting for a text from him. And no, he never called me and I was just fine with the texts. Most times chatted with Special Anonymous, I would observe Charles glaring at me from the dining. He knew something was taking my attention but didn't have the nerve to ask. And so, life went on. I loved everything about this anonymous stranger, even if I'd never seen him. He always told me how beautiful I looked and how he watched me from a distance. "When are we going to see?" I always asked, but he would laugh and say, "At the right time." My chats with him became the best thing that happened to me in a while. It made me so happy that I was beginning to think of how I would file a divorce with Charles when I finally saw this anonymous stranger. I didn't care about what he might look like because, from the type of gifts he sent and how sweet he was in the chats, it was clear that he knew what a woman wanted. One day, my friend suggested tracking the location of the number, and even if I didn't see the need to, I decided to have fun with it. She called a guy who helped out with the job. "No 5 Greenland Avenue," the guy had said, looking into the computer. I knew I had just heard incorrectly. "Yes, that is my house. How do you know it's where I live?" I had asked the guy whose lips parted in shock. "That's where the person lives?" I stuttered in shock while he nodded in affirmation. I got back home that evening with my heart beating out of my chest. I didn't believe what that guy said, and so I went through Charles's phone. There was no proof of that there. Something directed me to his bag that was on top of the wardrobe. Immediately I searched through it. I found a phone. From all that I saw inside the phone, it was clear that Special Anonymous was Charles. I froze, trembled, and couldn't think. I didn't even get a wind of that. How? Why? All these were questions in my head, but it didn't stop the fact that I lied to him about the packages that came from him. There on the spot, I recalled a time when we first met. He had told me that he found it hard to express love to someone he loved. It became clear now. He decided to become anonymous to give me what I wanted. I cried my eyes out because it dawned on me that I betrayed my husband. He hasn't said a word to me since then. Neither have I too. We still live as we always did, but I'm certain that when the matter comes to the surface, I will lose him.